So this is the solution to Waec for School Candidates 2023 Paper 1, the test of objectives. The questions here were gotten from my school, the NG. My name is Moin and I will be solving it. So sit back and enjoy, or try to enjoy. Alright, so let's get right into it. Question 1. We have a question on circle geometry. So the question says that in the diagram, O is the center of the circle QRS and angle SQR, this is angle XQR, is equal to 28 degrees. Find ORS. So this is the angle we're meant to find. Let's call that angle theta. Okay? ORS. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not the angle. ORS is this angle here. Okay, so that is ORS, because R, okay, the angle is going to be placed in on the center letter. Okay, so this is O, then this is R, and then this is S. So R is the center letter, and that's where we have the angle. So I've drawn a clearer version of the diagram here. Now let's start. So let me just analyze the diagram a little bit. We have a triangle inside of the circle, and then we have another triangle inside that triangle. So one thing I can see about this smaller triangle, this triangle ORS, is that O is the center of the circle, right? We're told that O is the center of the circle and S is on the circumference. So from O to S, that is a radius. Okay, that's a radius. And then from O to R is also a radius of the circle. So it means that this inner triangle is an isosceles triangle. So the angle here will be equal to the angle here, because the base angles of an isosceles triangle are equal. Okay, so now if we want to find that angle theta, we need to know what this angle here, let's call this angle, I don't know, alpha. Okay, so we need to know what that angle is, and for us to do that, you need to understand one of the circle theorems. It's called angles at the center. So the theorem states that angle subtended by a segment at the center of the circle is equal to 2 times the angle subtended by the same segment at the circumference. So if you don't really understand it, let me know. I have a video on circle geometry I can share with you, so just send me a DM. Okay, so what is our angle at the center? Our angle at the center is that alpha. Okay, that's the angle at the center, because it is at the center of the triangle, of the circle, where the point O is, and then the angle at the circumference is that 28 degrees. Okay, so it means that alpha is what, 56 degrees. So you can see that we now know what alpha is. It means we can find what theta is. So we can just use sum of angles in a triangle. What's the sum of angle in a triangle? 180 degrees. So all of this is equal to 180 degrees. So we have that 56 plus 2 theta is equal to 180. Then theta is 180 minus 56 divided by 2, and that will give me 62 degrees. So the answer here is option D. Okay, so all you needed to know here is this theorem, this angle at center theorem, and of course sum of angles in a triangle. Sum of angles in a triangle. So that's that. Question 2 is on algebra. Okay, so we have to solve this. This is actually pretty easy to solve. 1 plus cube root of x minus 3 is equal to 4. So we want to find what x is. So first of all, let's isolate this term. So we have cube root of x minus 3 is equal to 4 minus 1. When 1 goes to the other side, it becomes negative. Cube root of x minus 3 is equal to 3. So for us to get rid of that cube root, you find the cube of both sides. Yes, find the cube of both sides. Okay, so you have cube root of x minus 3 cube is equal to 3 cube. So on this side, this cube will cancel the cube root, and x minus 3 is equal to 3 cube. 3 cube is 27. So x is what? 30. Okay, so that is option A. And don't forget, in your exam, please try to shade well. Shade very well, get a good pencil. Don't let, because a computer will be the one to mark your script, so you don't want that to hinder you from getting perfect scores. This next question is on mensuration. So mensuration basically has to do with the measurement of perimeters, areas, volumes of different shapes, both plane shapes and solid shape. So the shape that we're dealing with here is a plane shape, and that's a circle. We're told to find the area of a particular sector. The angle of the sector is 115, the radius is 3.4. And we're given the value of pi. Please always use the value of pi you are given. If you're not specified, if the value of pi is not specified, then you can use 22/7. I always advise you to use 22/7. So you just need to know the formula of the area of a sector. What's the area of a sector? That's theta over 360 times pi r squared. That is 115 divided by 360 times 22/7 times 3.4 squared. So you can use your calculator to evaluate this. Okay, so this gave me 11.6 centimeters squared. So that will be option A. So this is a very simple question. Question 4 is on sets. Okay, set theory. So we're told that there are 30 students in the class. So total number of students in the class is 30 students. And what do you call the total number of items in a set? We call it, or we represent it with the symbol U. Okay, some textbooks will use this symbol. So that's 30. 15 study woodwork. So let's say woodwork is equal to 15. 13 study metalwork. Metalwork is equal to 13. And 6 study neither of the two. What was neither of the two subjects? Neither of the two subjects. It means they are not studying woodwork, neither are they studying metalwork. So this is how we represent that, and that's 6. How many students study woodwork but not metalwork? Now you might be wondering, what do they mean by how many students study woodwork? Should be, they already gave us the number of students that study woodwork. But the thing is that some of the students that study woodwork here, some of these 15 students are also studying metalwork. Okay, they are taking both subjects. So we want to know the students that are only taking woodwork, they are not taking metalwork. So let's start by drawing our rectangle. The rectangle is the total number of items. It will represent the total number of items in your set. Okay, so that value U is equal to 30. And then of course your circles, so one circle will be for W, and the other circle will represent metal work. Okay, so you just make them intersect this way. So let's say this is W, this is metal work. So those 6 students that don't study metal work or woodwork, they will not fit into any of the circles. Okay, they'll be outside. So we'll just have 6 here. They are also students. Okay, that's why they're part of the rectangle. They are students. They are inside the rectangle, but they don't study woodwork, so I can't put them inside this part of the circle. They don't study metalwork, I can't put them inside this part. So the students that study Next thing, you need to identify the students that study both woodwork and metalwork. Let's just call that X because we're not given. Okay, the students that study both woodwork and metalwork. Now, how many students study woodwork? That's 15. But you don't write 15 here. Okay, you don't write 15 here. What you write is 15 minus X. Because this part of the circle, this part that I just shaded, those are the students that are studying only woodwork. Okay, they are not studying metalwork, only woodwork. So all woodwork students 15. All woodwork students 15. So only woodwork will be 15 minus X. And then you do the same thing for metalwork. Okay, that will be 13 minus X. So that students studying only metalwork, they are not studying woodwork. So now, in order to solve this, you just add everything together. So 15 minus X plus the center variable plus 13 minus X, and don't forget 6, even though it is outside, it's still part of the set, is equal to 30. So I have 34 minus X is equal to 30. Okay, so X is 34 minus 30, and that's equal to 4. Okay, so I don't know why the answer is not here. Let me just do it quick. Okay. I am certain my answer is correct. I don't seem to, I don't understand where the issue must have come from. Oh, okay, sorry, we're not done with solving the question. I'm so sorry. So we just found X. Okay, we just found X. X is the number of students that are studying both woodwork and metalwork. That's why it's in the center of the circle, meaning that 4 students are studying woodwork, and at the same time they're also studying metalwork. Now, what does the question say we should find? Students that are studying woodwork but not metalwork, and that's this 15 minus X. Okay, woodwork but not metalwork. So those number of students woodwork but not metalwork, so we can call that woodwork only. Okay, they are studying woodwork only, they are not studying metalwork or any other subject. So that will be what? 15 minus X, which is 15 minus 4, and that's 11. So that's option B. So this is actually an easy question on set. Sets can be quite tricky. Okay, the key is just to keep practicing questions. The more you practice, the better you get at solving. Question 5 is also algebra. It's a word problem question, and I actually later realized that it is more of simultaneous equation. Okay, the word problem will lead to a simultaneous equation problem. So let's start. Mr. Manu is 4 times as old as his son Adu. So we need to first of all give them ages. Okay, so let's say Adu is X years old, and this is the present, like the present time. Okay, that's X years old. And let's say Mr. Manu is Y years old. So now they said that Mr. Manu is 4 times as old as the son. That means Mr. Manu's age is 4 times his son's age. So that means Mr. Manu's age, Y, is equal to 4 times X. Okay, 4 times his son's age. So Y is equal to 4X. 7 years ago. So now you need to find their age. Their ages 7 years ago. So 7 years ago, Adu will be X minus 7. Mr. Manu will be Y minus 7. It's like, okay, let's say you are 17 now. 7 years ago, you were 17 minus 7. That's 10 years. Okay. Now, 7 years ago, the sum of their ages was 76. That is, when you add x minus 7 plus y minus 7, those two ages. Okay, when you add them together, you get what? 76. Now you have to find how old is Adu. That means how old is he presently, and that's x. So we have to find x. Okay, so what we do now is let's expand this bracket. So we have x minus 7 plus y minus 7 is equal to 76. X plus y minus 14 is equal to 76. X plus y is equal to 90. Okay, so now we know that y is 4x, so just substitute that. And then x is 90 divided by 5, and that's 18. So it means that Adu is 18 years old. So this is actually an easy word problem. Very easy. Angles of elevation and depression. What's the question says? It says the angle of elevation of the top of a building from a point Z on the ground is 50. So let's draw our building. Let's say this is the building. The building is very tall. Okay, so this is the ground. That's the ground. Ground. And this is the building. So we're told that the angle of elevation is 50 degrees. So a point Z on the ground. Z is on the ground. So let's say this point here. Okay, let's say that point is Z. So now you're just going to draw an imaginary line that will go straight to the top of the building. Okay, it's part of the triangle, but just imagine it as going straight to the top of the building. Now the angle between that imaginary line and the ground is the angle of elevation, and that's 50 degrees. So that they told us that the height of the building is 124 meters. Find the distance from Z to the foot. So the foot of the building is the bottom of the building. This is the foot of the building. Okay, so I want to know the distance from Z to this point. Let's call that distance x. So we're going to have a triangle here, a right angle triangle. And whenever you hear right angle triangle, okay, what should come to your mind is trigonometry ratio. Those are your SOHCAHTOA. That's what should come to mind. So okay, so I have my triangle like this. This is my mini triangle. I have 50 here. I have 1, 2, 4, and I have x. So try to label your sides. So this is 50. 1, 2, 4 is opposited, so that's our opposite side. X is our adjacent side. So opposite and adjacent, what do we use? We use tan. So tan theta equals over adjacent. Tan 50 equals 124 divided by x. X is 124 divided by tan 50. So this is something you should use your calculator to solve. So that's 104.05. Okay, so that is option B. So angle of elevation is actually a very simple topic, honestly. If you don't understand this, send me a DM. There's a video on it. Algebra again, word problem. 1/3 of the sum of two numbers. Ooh, two numbers. So let's just imagine, give these numbers random variables. So let's say our number one is let's call them x and y. So x and y are our two numbers. 1/3 of the sum. What's the sum of x and y? That's x plus y. So what's 1/3 of the sum? So that's what? 1/3 times x plus y. That's 1/3 of the sum. So that is equal to 12. Okay. Oh, okay, I made an error. This Mr. Manu, it did not give us a simultaneous equation. It was that other question, that other algebra question, that would have given us a simultaneous equation. This one, yeah, this one gives us a simultaneous equation. So that's the first statement. And the second statement says that twice their difference is 12. So what's the difference between the two numbers? The difference between the two numbers will be what? X minus y. That's what we know as difference. And then twice, that's 2 times. 2 times of that difference is equal to 12. Okay, so I'm going to have a simultaneous equation. Let's simplify these equations. X plus y over 3 is equal to 12. This one, x minus y is equal to 12. If I divide both sides by 2, okay, I'll divide both sides by 2. So here, this one will give me x plus y. If I cross multiply, is equal to 3 times 12 is 36. So this is my equation 1. The other one here will give me x minus y is equal to 6. Okay, that's equation 2. So let's solve this simultaneously. I'm going to be using elimination method. So I'll eliminate y. 2x is equal to 42, x is equal to 42 over 2, and that's 21. So from our options, I can already see that my answer is going to be C. Even though I don't know what y is, I can already see the 21 there, and that's the only 21 in the options. But you should always check if your answer is correct. X plus y is 36, y is 36 minus x, and that is 15. So yes, I was correct. The answer is C. So this is the question that led us to a simultaneous equation. It's a word problem. It can be tricky, but the more you practice, the better you get. Another question on circle geometry. Whew. In the diagram above, M, N, R are points on the circle center O. ORN is 48 degrees. So this is the point that is 48 degrees. 48 degrees. RNM is 1 to 4. So this is 1 to 4. Find OMN. Remember that the angle will always be on the center letter. So OMN. The center letter is M. So we're looking for this angle here. Let's call that theta. Now, in order to solve this question, you need to know what this particular angle is. This one here. Okay, let's call it alpha. You need to know what that angle is. And how can we know what that angle is? Well, we're going to use this theorem that we used earlier. Angle at the center is equal to 2 times angle at the circumference. Okay, angle at the center. Angle at the center is equal to 2 times angle at the circumference. So what's the angle at the center? What's the angle at the circumference? The angle at the center is this outer angle here. It's called the reflex angle. Reflex, ROM, MOR. Anyone is fine. Okay, that's the reflex angle. And then the angle at the circumference is this 1 to 4. Okay, angle at the circumference is 1 to 4. Angle at the center is this. So angle at the center, reflex MOR is equal to 2 times angle at the circumference. That's 1 to 4, and that's equal to what? 248 degrees. Okay, so we know that this is 248 degrees. It means we can easily find alpha. How can we find alpha? You already know that angle at a point, okay, angle at a point is equal to 360. So it means that 248 plus alpha 360, and alpha is what? And that's 112 degrees. So we know what alpha is, okay? And then you can just use sum of angles in a quadrilateral. What's the sum of angle in a quadrilateral? That's 360 degrees. So sum in a quadrilateral is 360. So it means that 124 plus 48 plus 112 plus theta is equal to 360. And this is equal to 76 degrees. So the key here is just to understand the theorem. Angle at the center is equal to 2 times angle at the circumference. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so we have a question on surds. We're to simplify. So we have 3 root 12 plus 10 root 3 minus 6 over root 3. So let's start with this 3 root 12. Root 12 is the same thing as root 4 times 3. Okay, root 4 times 3 is equal to root 4 times root 3, and that's equal to 2 times root 3, which is 2 root 3. Okay, so it means that this is 3 times 2 root 3, and that's basically 6 root 3. So I've simplified that one. I'll bring this one down and bring this one down, plus 10 root 3 minus 6 over root 3. So I can add this one, 6 root 3 plus 10 root 3, 16 root 3 minus 6 over root 3. So let's find the LCM. The LCM will be root 3. Root 3 divided by 1 is root 3. Root 3 times 16 root 3 is 48. Okay, that's 16 root 3 times root 3. That's 16 times root 3 times 3. 16 times root 9. 16 times 3, which is 48. Then minus 6. So this is equal to 42 over root 3. So now, whenever you have a surd like this, a surd in form of a fraction like this, you never leave the denominator as a surd. Okay, don't leave the denominator as a surd. We do something called rationalization. So let's rationalize our surd. So how do you rationalize? This is a very simple surd. So you just do times the denominator. Okay, you multiply both numerator and denominator by the denominator. So this is 42 root 3 over root 9. 9 is from 3 times 3. That's 42 root 3 over 3, which is 14 root 3, and that's option C. So I think the key thing here is just your ability to rationalize. Okay, anybody can do this. All these steps that we did before, you can do it, but to rationalize might be that's been the issue. Oh, this question is a very interesting one. I remember treating it in depth during the first class that we had, and I sent like a very short quiz to the group, and many people actually got it right, and I'm just very glad. And there are a couple of people that told me that they did not even understand what it means for a fraction to be undefined before the class, and after the class they understood it, and that's why they were able to solve this question very well. So what does it mean when a fraction is undefined? When a fraction is undefined, it just means that the denominator is equal to 0. Denominator, which is the term that is down in the fraction, denominator is equal to 0. Okay, so a fraction is like up divided by down. We actually call it numerator divided by denominator. So this is the denominator, and whatever is there is equal to 0. So it means that in our own fraction here, 10x squared minus 13x minus 3 is equal to 0. So now we're going to factorize. So think of two numbers that when you add them, it will give you minus 13x, and when you multiply, it will give you minus 30x squared. Okay, so I've already thought of those two numbers, and my answer is minus 10x and minus 3. Sorry, my answer is minus 15x, okay, and plus 2x. So plus 2x minus 15x minus 3. So let's factorize. Okay, so we have 2x minus 5 is equal to 0, or 5x plus 1 is equal to 0, because we're looking for the roots. Okay, when they ask you to find for what value of x, they want you to find the roots. Minus 1, so x is sorry, a very small mistake I did here. Okay, so x is 3 over 2, or x is minus 1 over 5. So that's option B. Okay, so you just need to know that when a fraction is undefined, the denominator is equal to 0, and then you obviously need to know how to factorize a quadratic equation. Number bases, we have to convert 413 in base 7 to base 5. So the first thing you do is to convert it to base 10. 413 0 1 2. Okay, so this is 4 times 7 raised to the power 2 plus 1 times 7 raised to the power 1 plus 3 times 7 raised to the power 0. 4 times 49, 196 plus 7 plus 3, and that's equal to 206 in base 10. So 206 in base 10, we have to convert that to base 5. So I'm going to put my remainder here. Okay, so this is 41 remainder 1, 8 remainder 1, 1 remainder 3, 0 remainder 1. Okay, and then you invert it, so the answer is equal to 1 3 1 1 in base 5. So number basis is actually easy to do. Okay, so if I were you in the exam, or when I come across a question like this, please use a calculator. Don't start stressing yourself, but always follow the instruction. If they say to 3 decimal places, after using your calculator, try to find it to 3 decimal places. Okay, so this is something that I would really suggest, because you can do this on your paper, but that's like time wasting, and you have a calculator with you. This is not the UTME. Okay, but if you wanted to do it without a calculator, you just start by, let's evaluate the numerator, that's 4.314. you still have to use a calculator at the end of the day. Okay, so this is equal to 4314 times 56 divided by, I have to count the number of decimal places we have. So this is 1 2 3. On this side we have 1 2 3 4 5 6. So 3 decimal places here, 6. 3 plus 6 is 9. So you have to add 9 zeros. Okay, so you check your calculator. So this is a very, very, very long step. So just use a calculator to evaluate all that. So this will give me 0.00024158. So that's the numerator. So now 0.0024158 divided by 0.0067. So again, I'm going to count decimal places. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one has 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then this one has just 4. So 8 minus 4 is 4. So add 4 zeros here. Add 4 zeros. So you write out only the numbers. So you have 24158 divided by 651 and 4 zeros. Okay. So 24158 divided by 65 and 4 zeros. So this will give me 0.037. They said to 3 decimal places. This is 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So this is a very long thing to do. Okay, so just use a calculator. Use a calculator. Okay, we have a question on polygon here. We're told that the interior angle of a regular polygon is 6 times the exterior angle. Find the okay. So let's say the exterior angle. Let's say the exterior angle is x. Okay, the interior angle is what? 6x, which is 6 times x. Okay, 6 times. Now one thing about polygons, you should know that the interior angle plus the exterior angle will give us 180 degrees. So 6x plus x is 180 degrees. Okay, so 7x 180 degrees and x is 180 divided by 7. So this is telling us that each exterior angle is 180 divided by 7. For the interior angle, each interior angle will be 6 times 180 divided by 7. So this is one interior angle. Okay, so now how do you find the sum of interior angles? There's a formula for sum of interior angles. Sum of interior angles in a polygon, and that is what? N minus 2 times 180. 180, n there is the number of sides. Another formula for sum of interior angle is 1 interior angle times n. So that's 1 interior angle divided by 7 times n. So that's equal to n minus 2. This is quite tricky. So 1080n minus 1260, that's 180. So 180n is equal to, sorry, minus 180 is equal to 7 times minus 360. So it means that n is equal to 7 times minus 360 divided by minus 180, and that's equal to 7 times 2, and that's 14. Okay, so this is quite tricky. Let me just take it again. We're told that the interior angle of a regular polygon is 6 times the exterior angle. So let's say the exterior angle is x. It means that the interior angle will be what? 6x. Okay, now this is one formula that you should know. The exterior angle plus interior angle is equal to 180 degrees for any polygon. So 6x plus x is equal to 180, 7x equals to 180, x is this. But that x is the exterior angle. But we're actually going to be working with the interior angle in the formulas, okay? So the interior angle is 6x, so you just do 6 times 180 over 7, and that's this value. So this is one interior angle. Now the total sum of interior angles, there are two formulas. Is either you do one interior angle times n, or you use this formula. Okay, so we're going to use both of them. This is one interior angle times n, and then this is the formula. So we now start evaluating everything. That was what I was doing here. I was just evaluating everything, and then I found the value of n, which is the number of sides we're looking for. N is the number of sides, and that's 14 here. So the answer is 14. I suggest you look for more questions on some of angles in a triangle, interior angles and sides, and solve more of those questions. This one is actually quite tricky. We have a question on indices. 2 raised to the power 5x divided by 2 raised to the power x is equal to the 5th root of 2 raised to the power 10. The 5th root, that's why you have 5 here. So this is 2 raised to the power, from the laws of indices, this will be 5x minus x. Remember that a raised to the power x divided by a raised to the power y is equal to a raised to the power x minus y, and that's equal to 2 raised to the power 10. 5th root, you can also write it as raised to the power 1 over 5. Okay, it's the same way the square root of a is equal to a raised to the power 1 over 2. The cube root of a is equal to a raised to the power 1 over 3. So that's 1 over 5. So this is 2 raised to the power 4x is equal to 2 raised to the power 10 times 1 over 5. You multiply them together when you have two powers like that. Okay, a raised to the power x raised to the power y is equal to a raised to the power xy. So you multiply them together, and that's 2. So now we have the same base. This is base 2 on both sides. So you can just equate the powers. So it means that 4x is equal to 2, x is 2 over 4. That's option B. Logarithms. This logarithm is actually a bit tricky. So we're told that log 3 in base a is equal to m, and log 5 in base a is equal to p. So it means that, this means that a raised to power m is equal to 3, okay, and a raised to power p is equal to 5. It's just a basic logarithm rule, okay. Log a in base x is equal to y. It means that x raised to power y is equal to a. Okay, so now we know that 3 is equal to a raised to power m, 5 is equal to a raised to power p. So now we have to find log a in base 75. So now just think about the different combinations of 75, okay, or represent 75 in terms of its prime factors. So 75 is actually equal to 3 times 5 times 5. Okay, so this is log a into bracket 3 times 5 times 5. So that's log a, then log 5 in base a plus log 5 in base a again. Okay, so you know that log, let's say x times y, okay, in base z is equal to log x in base z plus log y in base z. When you have multiplication in a bracket, you can separate them using addition. So this is equal to log a in base 3 plus log 5 in base a plus log 5 in base a. That's 2 log 5 in base a. So we already know what 3 is. We know that 3 is what? A raised to power m. So you can just substitute. So log a raised to power n is equal to, plus 2 log a raised to power p. So whenever you have powers like this, log x raised to power y in base b is equal to y times, okay, log x in base b. So whenever you have a power, you bring it to the front of the logarithm. So let's bring that m times log a base a plus p times 2 log a in base a. The logarithm of any number in its own base is 1. Okay, so the logarithm of any number, log a in base a is 1, log 10 in base 10 is 1. If you don't understand what is going on, I have a video on laws of logarithms that you can watch. So this is 2p. So my answer is m plus 2p. Okay, this is actually quite tricky. Okay, we're to find the roots of we're to factorize this equation. Basically, 3m squared minus 2m minus 65 is equal to 0. So you need two numbers that when you add, they'll give you minus 2m, and when you multiply, they'll give you minus 195 m squared. Minus 195 m squared. So let me just 195 is divisible by 5. 195, you can 195 is equal to 39 times 5, but 39 and 5 cannot give us 2. There's no way 39 and 5 will give us 2. Let me try 15. 195 divided by 15 is 13. Okay, so 195 is equal to 13 times 15. Can 13 and 15 give us 2? Oh yes, 13 and 15 can give us 2. So it means that our two numbers will be minus 15 and 13. So minus 15 plus 13, minus 2m. Okay, minus 15m times 13m will give us this. So 3m squared minus 15m plus 13m Okay, so m is equal to minus 13 over 3, or m is equal to 5. So my answer here is B. 5 comma minus 13 over 3. Percentage error. A student measured the height of a pole as 5.98. So that's the measured value. Okay. Then the measured value is less than the actual height. So that's the actual value. We don't know the actual value. The percentage error is 5%. Find the actual height. Okay, so there's a formula for percentage error. Percentage error is equal to the error divided by the actual value times 100%. Okay, so what's the error? Error is equal to actual value minus measured value. So let's first of all find the error. Once we know the error, we can find the actual value. Our percentage error is 5%, so 5 is equal to error over actual value times 100. So we can divide both sides by 100. So 5 over 100 is equal to error over actual value. So our error is equal to 5 over 100 is 0.05 times the actual value. Okay, so let's call the actual value x. Okay, so 0.05 times x, which is 0.05x. So if we go back to this formula here, so our error is what? 0.05x. Our actual value is x. Measured value is 5.98. Okay, so we take x to the other side. So we're asked to find this to 2 decimal places. So 5.98 divided by 0.95. This will give me 6.29. So it means that the actual value, the actual height of the pole is 6.29. So I think the key thing is just to know two formulas. What are the two formulas? This and this. If you don't understand percentage error, I have some notes on percentage error, so just send me a DM and I'll send them to you. Okay, the radius and height of a solid cylinder is this. Find the total surface area. So what's the surface area of a cylinder? It is 2 pi rh plus 2 pi r squared. This formula is in your 4-figure table, so you don't have to cram it, but you should know where in your 4-figure table it is just before the exam. Okay, so just substitute your values. And then you can just punch this in your calculator. So this gave me 1106.29 centimeters squared. And by the way, always read the options very carefully, because some options can be very similar to each other, like option A and B and option A and C. Okay. Trigonometry. Find the value of A in the equation. So cos A plus 14 okay, so now you know that cos theta is equal to sine 90 minus theta. Okay, you can also use sine theta is equal to cos 90 minus theta. So let's use this first one. Cos theta, our theta here is A plus 14. So you just replace it, you rewrite it sine, okay, 90 minus A plus 14. That minus sign, you have to be very careful. That's what sine 90 minus A minus 14, and that's sine 76 minus A. So what's sine 76 minus A? It is sine 4A plus 6. So we can cancel out our signs, and we have 6 minus A is equal to 4A. 6 minus 6 is equal to divide both sides by 5, and A is 14 degrees. The radius of a sphere is this. Find the volume. Oh, the volume of a sphere. This is under mensuration. The volume of a sphere is what? 4/3 by r cubed. We're not given any value of pi, so when you evaluate that, you're going to get 36 pi. Now remember the units for volume: centimeter cube or meter cube. Okay, that's option D. Oof, this is a question on ratios. Okay, we have m ratio n. Remember that ratios are fractions. Okay, ratios are fractions. Let's first of all write this as improper fractions. So m ratio n is equal to 7/3 ratio 6/5. So let's do that for n ratio q. That's 3/2 ratio 4/3. Okay. Alright, so ratios are fractions, so m ratio n is m divided by n. That's 7/3 divided by 6/5. Okay, so m/n is 35. So it means that m ratio n is what? 35 ratio 18. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. N divided by q is 3/2 so it means that n ratio q So now we need to combine the ratios because we're looking for Q ratio M. Okay, so we need to combine the ratios. That is, we need to make sure that the value of n on this side is equal to the value of n on this side. Okay, so n here is 18, n here is 9. How can we get to 9? How can we get from 9 to 18? Rather, you multiply by 2. Okay, so if you multiply everything by 2, n ratio Q is equal to 2 times 9 is 18, 2 times 8 is 16. Okay, so it's still a ratio, it's just that it's not in a very simple form. But 18 ratio 6 is still the same thing as 9 ratio 8. So it means that you can combine everything together. You can even write m ratio n ratio q. That will be what? M is 35. Okay, on both sides n is 18. So you can write them as 1, q is 16. And you can do q ratio m. That's 16 ratio 35, which is the answer we're looking for. Question 22, we're to make x the subject of the formula. Okay. So y is equal to ax cubed minus b over 3z. So let's get rid of that 3z. Okay, multiply both sides by 3z. So 3z cancels 3z. I have 3yz here. Let's get rid of that b. Take b to the other side. Okay, let's get rid of that a. Divide both sides by a. So a cancels a. So we have x cubed is equal to 3yz minus b over a. And then to get rid of that cube, you find the cube root of both sides. Okay, so our x, because this cube root will cancel the cube, our x is cube root of okay, so that's option B. So we have to arrange the following in ascending order. In order for us to arrange it in ascending order, we need to put them on a common base. Okay, so the most common base will be base 10. So let's quickly do that conversion. So for the first one, so the first one is 6. Okay, 110 is 6. Let's check 31 in base 8. So 31 in base 8 is 25 in base 10. Let's check 42. And that's 22 in base 10. So they said in ascending order, that's from the smallest to the largest. So the smallest is 6, followed by 22, followed by 25. So 6 is what? 110 in base 2. 22 is what? 42 in base 5. And of course, that's option D. A number is chosen at random from 40 and 50 inclusive. Okay, so this is probability. They said from 40 and 50. So you're choosing a random number between 40 and 50. They're like 41, 42, 43, and so on and so forth. Now they said inclusive. Inclusive means you have to add 40 and 50. So 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Okay, so what's the total number of the numbers that we have here? The total number of numbers that we have here is 11. Okay, now the now said find the probability that the number is prime. So you need to know the number of prime numbers. So what are the prime numbers? 47, 43, and 41. Okay, every other number is not prime. Remember that a prime number is a number that can be divided by only one and itself. Okay, every other number there has another divisor. So what's the probability? Probability that the number is prime, okay, is equal to the number of prime numbers over the total numbers that we have. So that's from 40 to 50, and that's what's 3 over 11. Option B. Bearing. John was facing south 35 degrees east. Let's quickly draw that. There are 4 cardinal points: north, south, east, west. So south 35 degrees, it means you're counting from south and you're going towards the east, okay, and you count just 35 degrees. Degrees like this. Okay, so this is where John is. John is on that blue line, standing on that blue line, set south to 35 degrees east. Then he said he turned 90 degrees in the anti-clockwise direction. So he moved in a 90 degree direction, in the anti-clockwise direction. So what's the anti-clockwise direction? Is the opposite way to how clock normally moves. You know, clock moves from 12 to 3 to 6 to 9. That is from here to 3 to 6 to 9 back to 12. So anti-clockwise is the opposite way. Instead of going from 12 to 3 to 6 to 9, to go from 12 to 9 to 6 to 3 to 12 like this. Okay, so that's anti-clockwise. So it means it started from here and you turned 90 degrees. So how do you measure 90 degrees? From here to here is 55 degrees, because you know that this place here, everything here is 90 degrees. Everything there is 90. So if from here to here is 35, then the remaining will be what? 90 minus 35, and that's 55. So let's complete. So this other place here will be, because he's going 90 degrees. So if he has already done 55, the remaining that is left is 35. Okay, so the total is 90 degrees. 35 plus 55. So now is in between north and east. So say north something degrees east. So when you're saying north something, you're going to start counting from the north. So we need to know what this angle is. Okay, we need to know what that angle is. And what's that angle? Is very simple. If this place is 90 degrees and this one here is 35, so that will be what? 90 minus 35. So that's north 55 degrees east. Option C. Coordinates geometry. A line passing through the point 6, 3 is parallel. Let's call that line L. Okay, L passes through. Okay, so this L is parallel to another line. So this is L, this is another line. This is L. Let's call this maybe line B. Okay, so they are parallel. That is, they are going in the same direction. But in coordinate geometry, whenever two lines are parallel, okay, they have the same gradient. Parallel lines, or they have the same slope. Gradient is the same thing as slope. Gradient or slope. So now it is parallel to the line that passes through this point and this point. So this line B passes through a particular point that is 7, 4, and it passes through another point that is -3, 9. Okay. Now find the equation of line L. In order for us to find the equation of line L, we need the gradient, which is M, and we need a particular point. So we already have a point that L passes through. We need to know the gradient of L, but we're not given the gradient of L, so we need to calculate it. How do we calculate it? Well, we know that this second line and L, they will have the same gradient because they are parallel. So if you know the gradient of that second line, you can find the gradient of L. So the gradient of the second line will be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Let's call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So what's our y2? 4. y1 is 9. Our x2, 7 minus 3. So this is equal to minus 5 over 7 plus 3 is 10. Okay, and that's minus 1 over 2. So that's the gradient of line B. So it means that the gradient of line L is also going to be the same because they have the same gradient. Okay, so now if we're to find the equation of L, this is the formula you would use. Y minus y1 is equal to gradient times x minus x1. So we have y minus, our y1 is this y coordinate of that point, minus 13. Our m is minus 1 over 2 into bracket x minus, this is the x coordinates here, x and y, and that's 6. So y minus minus 13, that's y plus 13 is equal to, if you expand the brackets, you have minus 1 over 2x plus 3. How do I get plus? Minus times minus, and then 3 is from 1 over 2 times 6. Okay, so y is equal to minus 1 over 2x plus 3 minus 13. Okay, so that's option C. So this is coordinate geometry. You need to know how to find the gradient of the line. I also need to understand that parallel lines have the same gradient. Another probability question. So this question, this is not the original question. There was a slight mistake in the original question, so I just changed that. A bag contains 4 white marbles, and 3 blue marbles. Another bag, okay, so let's call this bag A. Bag A has 7 marbles in total. Then for bag B, it has 5 red marbles and 6 blue marbles. That is 11 marbles in total. Now they said a marble is picked at random from each bag. So I dipped my hand into bag A. I just shuffled it and picked one random marble. Then I went to bag B, I dipped my hand inside, then picked a random marble. So then the question is, find the probability that they are of the same color. So how is it possible to choose the same color from bag A and bag B? Well, they only have one color in common, and that's blue. Okay, that's blue. So it means that we want to find the probability that in bag A we choose a blue marble. So probability that we choose blue from bag A, and probability that we choose was blue from bag B. Okay, that's what we want to find. The probability that we chose blue from bag A and blue from bag B. So what's the probability of choosing blue from bag A? Is the number of blue marbles, which is 3, divided by, okay, so that's probability of choosing a blue marble from bag A. That's 3 divided by 7. And means multiplication. Okay, what's probability of choosing a blue marble from bag B? That's number of blue marbles, which is 6, divided by total number of marbles, and that's 11. So this is the probability of choosing a blue marble from bag B. And my answer is what? 18/77. Okay, I hope that is understood. This is a question of quadratic equation. The truth set of this quadratic equation is p, q. They're just telling you to find the roots of the equation. So you have to factorize and then find the roots of the equation. Evaluate p plus q. So let's just find the roots of the equation. 8 plus 2x minus x squared. Let's rearrange. Minus x squared plus 2x plus 8. So we need two numbers that when we add, they will give us 2x, and when we multiply, the numbers will give us minus 8x squared. So I've already thought of those two numbers, okay, and my numbers are 4x and minus 2x. So 4x plus minus 2x will give us 2x. 4x times minus 2x will give us minus 8x squared. So minus x plus 4 plus 2 into bracket minus x plus 4. So this is x plus 2 into bracket. Oh, don't forget your equal to 0. Okay, so x plus 2 is equal to 0, or minus x plus 4 is equal to 0. X is equal to minus 2, or x is equal to 4. So I have, your p can be anyone. So let's say p is minus 2 and q is 4. We have to calculate p plus q. That's minus 2 plus 4. Okay, that's p plus q. That's the same thing as 4 minus 2, and that's 2. So the only technique they are treating here is the ability to factorize and find the roots of a quadratic equation. Okay, so we have a graph here. It is a question on probability. It is more of probability, but I added statistics because this is a bar chart, and you're going to be reading off the values from this bar chart. Now the chart is not very clear, like you can see when you're watching this video. So I squinted my eyes and tried to read the values. So I drew out the table for the values. You can see that this is the bar chart is actually representing the distribution of marks scored by students in an economics examination. So some people scored 1 mark, 3 people scored 1 mark. Okay, for 2 people they scored 2 marks. So how did I see that? So 1 mark, I just went to the top of the bar. This is the bar for 1 mark. Okay, I went to the top of the bar and I traced it to the y-axis, and you can see that led me to the middle of 2 and 4. The middle of 2 and 4 will be 3. That's how I got 3 for these 2. Okay, I went to the top of the bar and then I traced it to the axis, and that gave me 6. Okay, this one led me to in between 8 and 10, and that's 9, and so on and so forth. Okay, it's not very clear, but I just try to do it. And of course, each mark has like a number of people that scored it. Like for example, 12 people scored 5 marks, 10 people scored 8 marks. So the total number of people that wrote the exam is 53. So this frequency is just the students. Okay, so the total number of students that wrote the exam is 53. Okay, so now they said if the failed mark is 4, what is the probability that the student selected at random passed? So first of all, the probability that the student selected at random pass is equal to, so probability that the students pass. Okay, we need to first of all know the number of students that passed. Number of students who passed then divided by the total number of students. Total number of students is 53. So number of students who passed. They said the failed mark is 4. So it means that anybody that scored 4 and below failed. So that's the implication. Anybody that scored 4 and below. So all these people here failed. So every other person passed. So it means that the number of people that pass is what? 12 plus 7. That's 34. And that will give me 0.64. So that's option D. What percentage of the students scored at most 5 marks? At most 5 marks. It means mark 1, 2, 3, 4, but the highest is 5. Okay, nobody scored, none of those students that we're talking about now scored above 5. So we just need to know the students that scored from the lowest to 5. That's at most. That is the maximum should be 5. So at most 5 marks. So I'm going to stop counting here. So our concern is these students. So you can see that the highest mark here is 5. So at most 5 marks. So what's the number of students that scored at most 5? You have to add all of them. 3 plus 6 plus 9 plus 1 plus 12. 31. So these are the students that scored at most 5 marks. So say the percentage, so that will be what? 31 over total number of students is 53 times 100%. That's like 58.5. Okay, so that's option A. And then number 32. How many students scored at least 3 marks? At least. That means you have to start counting from 3. 3 is the minimum that you count. Okay, so you count from 3 and you go upwards. So it's the same thing. It's very similar to this at most. At most 5, it means that the highest you count is 5. So you start from 5 and count downwards. So here you start from 3 and count upwards. Okay, so how many students are there? So we're concerned with just these students. How many of them? So our answer here is what? 9 plus 1 plus 12 plus 7 plus 5 plus 10. And that's 44. Factorization. Factorize completely this and this. Okay, so I'm very sure I treated difference of two squares when we had the first class, and this is one of the applications of difference of two squares. Okay, because these are two squares, x squared y plus z squares, and this is the difference, that's the minus sign. So what does difference of two square, what's the identity? It is a square minus b square is equal to a plus b times a minus b. So in our example here, our a is x and our b is what? Y plus z. So it means that x squared minus y plus z squared is equal to x plus y plus z, okay, times x minus y plus z, because y plus z is now our b, okay. So this is x plus y plus z times x minus y minus z, because when you expand the bracket, minus times plus will give us minus, okay. So that's option B. This is the difference of two squares. Triangles. We have an equilateral triangle. Calculate the height h. So this is definitely a question on Pythagoras theorem. Okay, what does Pythagoras theorem state? It states that a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. Okay, so let's say our a is h squared, our b is 1 square, and then c is 2. And of course, this theorem, your c must always be the longest side, okay. You can't just use any random side. And then h is equal to square root of 3. That's option D. Angle of elevation and depression, another question on it. This is a very important topic. Very, very important. Mrs. Keber stands at a distance. So this is, let me draw Mrs. Keber. So this is the woman. She's standing here. She is standing at a distance of 110 meters away from a building. So let me draw the building. This is the building. Okay, this is where she is. This is the ground. So now the distance between the woman and the building is what? 110 meters. So the building is 58 meters. So from the top to the foot of the building, that's 58. If Mrs. Kebe is 2 meters tall, it means that from here to the foot of Mrs. Kebe, she's 2 meters tall. Find the angle of elevation of the building from the top of her eye. So her eye is at the top of her head. So I'm just going to draw an imaginary line from our eye to this building. I'm using dashed line because it's not a very. So we want to find the angle of elevation. So you need to, this horizontal line that is down here, remember that the angle of elevation is the angle between this imaginary line and the horizontal, but you cannot do like this. That's not possible, okay? That's not possible. So it means you need to like raise the horizontal up. So let me just raise it up to our, let me bring it to our eye. Okay, I've already brought it to our eye. It's still the same 110 meters, or it's just that I just raised it up to our eye, but it's still the same 110. What's the angle of elevation? That is what we are looking for. Okay, so what's the distance from this place to this place? What's that value? That will be 56. Why is it 56? Because from here to here is 58 and the woman is 2. Okay, so from here to here is 2. So if you minus 2 from 58, what is left is 56. So from there to there is 56. So we have a triangle. 56, 110, and this is our angle theta. Okay, so of course this is the opposite side. This is the opposite side. 110 is the adjacent side. So this is tan theta is equal to So theta is equal to arctan. That's about 27 degrees. Okay, so the key here is just being able to identify that when the woman is standing, okay, and then you have to subtract those two heights, to the building and our own height. You have to subtract, because she's not, if her eyes were on the ground, which is not possible, then you just draw your imaginary line like this, okay, and then this will be your angle, and you don't need to do any other scenario. But our eyes are at the top of our head, so you have to include the height. Okay. Ooh, 35 questions done already. Logical reasoning is not a common topic. I am very sure. In fact, some of you are watching this video and you are just encountering this question or this topic for the first time. Okay, I won't really go in depth into it because it's not even really common. The question says that consider the statement Sia is from Foya. That's the statement P. Foya is in Lofa. Sorry. Write in symbolic for the statement if Sia is from Foya. That is, if P, because Sia is from Foya, is P. Abi? Yeah, that statement P. So if P, then Foya is in Lofa, then Q. If P, then Q. Okay, so the answer to this question here, we are going to use a symbol to represent that statement if P then Q. So the symbol that we use is this symbol here, this arrow. Okay, we call it an implication arrow. Implication, that is, if we write P arrow Q, it means that P implies Q. That is, if P happens, then Q happens. That's what I mean by if P then Q. Okay, so if the question said if Foya is in Lofa, then Sia is in Foya, it will be what? If Q then P. You now have Q arrow P. You might not understand it, but just let me know. I'll probably send a video for you to watch. Okay, but this one is P and Q. So you might be wondering, what does D mean? This D, this double-headed arrow, it means that both statements, they are equivalent. Okay, they are equivalent. So yeah, that's that. The answer here is option C. What is the name of the triangle? This is quite difficult to do because you need the knowledge of triangles, like the kind of types of triangles really, and you need the knowledge of coordinate geometry. This is even more of coordinate geometry. So we have a triangle. Let me draw my triangle. Okay, so this is a triangle. This is point A. Let's call this point B or something. So let's say point A is 1, -3. So these are the coordinates. Okay, the points. If you were to draw this on a graph and you connect the 3 points together, it will give you a triangle. So how do we know the name of the triangle? How do we know whether it is scalene, isosceles, right angle, equilateral? Equilateral, they have the same length, all the sides. Okay, all the sides have the same length. Right angle, one angle is 90 degrees. Isosceles, just 2 sides are the same length. Okay, but scalene, none of the sides, none are the same. So it means that we need to know the length. We need to know the length of the side. We need to know the length of this side, the length of this side, the length of the cell. And for you to do that, you need to find the distance between 2 points. Okay, so coordinates geometry has a formula for distance between 2 points. So let's check the difference in the distance between A and B, then B and C, then A and C. So the formula is square root of x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. So for A and B, let's say this is x1, y1, x2, y2. What was x2? That's 6 minus 1 squared plus 2 minus 3 squared. That's equal to square root of 6 minus 1 is 5. 2 minus, that's 2 plus 3, and that's 5. That's square root of 5 squared is 25 plus 25. So the answer is square root of 50. So AB, the length of AB is root 50. Root 50. So let's try for BC. So let's say this is x2, y2, this is x1, y1. So square root of x2, that's 6 minus x1 is 0. This formula is also in your four-figure tables. 2 minus 4. This will give us 6 squared plus minus 2 squared. This will give us 6 squared is 36 minus 2 squared, that's 4. And that's square root of 40. So it means that BC is square root of 40. That's how long it is, square root of 40. And then for the last one, that's AC. Let me make this my x2, y2. As square root of x2 is 1, x1 is 0, y2 minus 3, y1 is minus 4. 1 minus 0 is 1, minus 3 minus 4, minus 7. 1 square is 1, minus 7 square is 49. So this is root 50. Yeah, so this is root 50. So it means that side AC is equal to side AB. AB is equal to AC. So two sides are the same. Our answer is isosceles triangle. The price of a shoe was decreased by 22%. If the new price is 27.3, what's the original price? So let's let the original price be X. Okay, so if you decreased the price by 22%, it means you removed 22% from 100%. Okay, so 100% minus 22%, then times the original price. So this value, 100% minus 22% times the original price, is what gives us 27.x. If they said you increase the price by 22%, this will be 100% plus 22% times x. Okay, but the person decreased the price by 22, so it will be 100% minus 22%. So this is 78% x is equal to 27. 78% is the same thing as 78 over 100. 78 over 100 is 0.78. this will give me $35. So remember that if the price was increased, you add 100% to 22%, but it was decreased, so you subtract 22% from 100%. We're going to have a class on financial mathematics on Tuesday, so we'll do more of this. Question 39 is also on circle geometry. We've treated like 2 or 3 or 4 circle geometry questions so far. It's a very important topic, very important. So in the diagram, line NR is a diameter, so this NR is a diameter. MNR is x degrees, SNR is 5x plus 20. Find the value of 2x. Okay, so before we can find the value of 2x, let's first of all even find out the value of x. Let's analyze this equation. First of all, what information, always read your question, what information did they give you? And what can you do with that information? They told us that NR is a diameter. Let's go back to our diagram. This is NR is a diameter. Ooh, this is a triangle. Okay, so NR is part of a triangle and it's a diameter. So whenever you have a triangle and one of the sides is a diameter in a circle, the angle opposite that diameter is usually a right angle. We call that theorem angle in a semicircle. You know that the diameter will divide the circle into 2 parts. Okay, that's why it is a semicircle. So the angle that is opposite the diameter is a right angle. So this is 90 degrees. So angle NMR is 90. So now we need to find x. Let's try to look for what this angle is. Let's call that theta. What would theta be? Well, we know that sum of angles in a triangle is 180. So theta plus x plus 90 is equal to 180. Theta is equal to 180 minus 90 minus x. That's 90 minus x. So theta is 90 minus x degrees. So it means this line here, if I invert the line for you, it looks like this. If you try to turn your head upside down, you will see that this place here is 5x plus 20. This place here is 90 minus x. And you know what angles on a straight line, that's another theorem. What does angle on a straight line? That all angles on a straight line, when you add them, they'll give you 180 degrees. So 5x minus x is 4x. So 4x is equal to 180 minus 110. 4x is 70. We're looking for 2x. Is that not what the question asks us to find? 2x. Okay, how can we find 2x? If we divide both sides by 2, we'll get 2x. So this is 2x is equal to 35. So the answer is B. So when it comes to circle geometry, always read your question, okay, and try to analyze the information given to you. Once you can do that and you can extract some very important things from it, that'll be very good. And of course, the more questions you practice, the more you come across like theorems that you use very often, like angle in a semicircle, angles of the same segment, angles at the center, those kind of theorems, you use them very often. Question 40, logarithms. Oof. Log x in base 3 plus log x minus 8 in base 3 is equal to 2. Okay, so something you can do, you can combine these two logarithms. Log 3, that will be x times x minus 8. And we use another bracket. Okay, remember what I told you about additions. When you have log x y, you can change it to log x plus log y. So again, if you have log x plus log y, you can change it to log xy. So our one is here is log x plus log 3x minus 8. So I can change it to log x times x minus 8, and that's equal to 2. So that's log x squared minus 8x is equal to 2. So it means that 3 raised to the power 2 is equal to x squared minus 8x. Remember that log x in base a is equal to b. It means that a raised to the power b is equal to x. A raised to the power b is equal to x. So 3 raised to the power 2 is equal to x squared minus 8x. So this will give us a quadratic equation. Let's solve our quadratic equation. Rearrange your equation. Two numbers that when you add, they'll give you minus 8x. When you multiply, they'll give you minus 9x squared. Those two numbers are minus 9x and x. When you add minus 9x and x, it will give you minus 8x. When you multiply, it will give you that. So let's just factorize. Now let's find the roots, because we're asked to find the roots. We're not told to find the root, but whenever you have a question with x, they want you to find the value of x. This is always find x, like as if we lost x. So x is equal to minus 1 or x is equal to 9. So if you check the options, you don't have two answers. This is to tell you that only one of the answers is valid, the other answer is not valid. So the valid answer is 9. That's the correct answer. X cannot be a negative number. X cannot be negative. Okay, because I'm dealing with logarithms, I'm dealing with bases, because logarithm also has to do with bases. And when we're dealing with bases, if you have noticed, in number bases, we don't have any negative bases. So if x cannot be negative, so it means that x is equal to 9. Find the quadratic equation whose roots are this and this. Okay, so if you are to calculate this, you need to first of all find the sum of the roots. That is, you add the roots together. So 2 over 3 plus minus 3 over 4. So when I calculated this one, it gave me 1 over 12. Then you also need to find the product of the roots. So that's 2 over 3 times minus 3 over 4. This gave me minus 1 over 2. So what's the formula? There's a formula for this. X squared minus sum of roots x plus product of roots is equal. So this is the formula that you should learn. I don't think this is in the 4-figure table. So first of all, find your sum of the root. That is, you add your roots, then find the product, you multiply them. Remember now, when we want to factorize, we usually look for two numbers that when we add, it will give us one number. When we multiply, it will give us another number. So it's the same thing here. Add your roots, because you're going from, in factorization, we're starting from the equation we factorize. But in this kind of question, we're starting from the roots, and then we'll now form the equation back. So you add the roots, you multiply the roots. So x squared minus, what's our sum? x, also our product, is equal to 0. So this is x squared plus 1 over 12x minus 1 over 2. So you can see that in our options, there is no fraction. Everything there is a whole number. So we need to get rid of the fraction. So you multiply by the LCM. Multiply every term by the L. And what's our LCM? It's 12, which is 12. So 12 times x squared, 12x squared. 12 times 1 over 12x, it will give us x, because 12 will cancel 12. 12 times 1 over 2 will give us 6. So my answer is option. So you can see that I use x, they used y. Anyone, they are still variables. It will work out here. Okay. If you reached this point of the video, well done, because I am also tired. I'm very, very tired. So we're given a square. The length of the diagonal in a square is 12 centimeters. So what is something about a square that you should know? Every side is the same length. Okay. Now we have a diagonal. Let me just draw one diagonal. And the length of diagonal is 12 centimeters. So this is obviously Pythagoras theorem. Okay, so a square plus b square is equal to c square. S square plus s square is equal to 12 square. 2s square is equal to 144. 144 divided by 2 is 72. Okay, and s is what? Square root of 72 centimeters. So they told us to find the area of it. What's the area of a square? S square. That's square root of, oh, we even have it here, s square. That's 72. Yeah. Circle geometry. Is it the only topic in the syllabus? The answer is 36. How is it 36? So let me explain angles of the alternate segment again. So you need a circle. We already have our circle. You need a tangent. You touch the circle at one point, and then you need a triangle. Okay, so now in the angles of alternate segment, this angle here, angle between this triangle and this tangent. Okay, so it is touching this line, right? It is touching this triangle. So you just go opposite. The angle that is opposite that line, they will be equal. Okay, they will be equal angles. It's the same thing outside here. On the other side, if this is, let's say, y, it is touching this line. The angle that is opposite, okay, that's y, they will be equal. So that's angles of alternate segment. So in our own example here, you can see that this is t, right? This is t, it's touching the tangent and it's touching this side of the triangle. It is this bigger triangle that is touching the circle at 3 points. It's touching the circle at 3 points. Okay, so t is touching this line of the triangle. So if you go opposite, what's the angle that is opposite that line? It is 36. So it means that t is equal to 36. So this is t here. This is 36 here. Okay, so t is equal to 36, and y is equal to 36. Angles of alternate I'm so sorry for the confusion earlier. If you still don't understand it, just let me know. Okay, we have another question on angles, but this one is not for circles or triangles. These are just lines, parallel lines. Find the value of m in the diagram above. So I already redrew the diagram to make it clearer. What are the information we have? Okay, we know that this line here is parallel to this line because of these arrows that were used. It shows that they are parallel. We know that this place here is a right angle, which is 90 degrees. So I want you to just draw an imaginary straight line passing through the right angle. This imaginary straight line is also parallel. Okay, it is also parallel to the other two lines. So draw the parallel arrow. Let me draw the parallel arrow. I'm using dashed line because these lines were not originally part of the diagram, so I can differentiate. Okay, so now this is if we know the value of the angle here, okay, we can use angle on a straight line. Remember that angle on a straight line are equal, so m plus that angle will give us 180 degrees. So if we know that angle, we can find m. So where do we start from? Well, this is 40 here. I can see alternate angles. Okay, so this is a parallel line, this is another parallel line, this is a transversal. Oh, let me just quickly explain that. So when you have two parallel lines like this, lines that are parallel to each other, and one line cuts across them, the line is called a transversal. So that line will form two angles that are equal. This angle here will be equal to this angle here. So it forms a Z shape. That's how I usually identify alternate angle. There will be a Z shape. So this one here is equal to this one here. So it's the same thing here. Whatever will be here, this is 40. Okay, it will be equal to this one here, also 40. So you can see the Z shape. That's how I identify this. So if this is 40, this other one here will be 50. Why is it 50? Because remember that everything here is a right angle. Okay, is a right angle. We're told that it is a right angle. So if everything here is right, is a right angle, and this place is 40, the other part will be 90 minus 40, and that's 50. Okay, that's 50. So I can see another Z shape. This thing takes time to learn. I remember having to go through Lamlad mathematics, solving almost all the questions in that chapter, trying to understand this. So it's fine if you don't get it now. Just ensure you work on it. Okay, so this is Z shape. So this angle here will be 50. Okay, so that means that question mark angle is 50. So m plus 50 and that's 130. That's option C. Find the gradient of the line passing through the points. Okay, so you know how to find gradient. M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What's our y2? Let's call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So our y2 is what? 2 over 3 minus y1 is minus 1 over 3 divided by 3 minus 1 over 2. That's equal to 2 over 3 plus 1 over 3 divided by 3 minus 1 over 2 will give me 5 over 2. 2 over 3 plus 1 over 3, that's 3 over 3. 3 over 3 is 1. 1 divided by, so 1 divided by 5 over 2 is going to be 2 over 5 because it's the reciprocal. Okay, 1 divided by a number is the reciprocal of the number. So 1 divided by a fraction, so 1 divided by a over b is equal to b over a. So 1 divided by 5 over 2 is equal to 2 over 5. Percentage error again, but this one is even better. We already have, we're only looking for the percentage error. So remember that percentage error is equal to error over actual value times 100%. What's the error? I already told you guys. Error is actual value minus measured value. So our actual value here is 15. Okay, measured value is 16.8. So whenever you have a case like this, because you're going to get a negative answer, okay, this is minus 1.8 over 15. Whenever you have a case like this, you use the absolute value. What is absolute value? The absolute value of a number is the positive value of the number. So absolute value of minus 2 is 2. You have to remove the negative sign. Okay, absolute value of any negative number, you just remove the negative sign. Is that simple? And we use this slashes to indicate absolute number. Just remove the negative sign. So if I remove the negative sign, it will be 1.8 over 15. So that's 12%. Okay. Question 47. Simultaneous equations. I'm going to use the elimination method. I like using the elimination method. Which one should I eliminate? I think I will eliminate y. I always like eliminating y. Okay, so I add 13x is equal to minus 13. X is minus 13 over 13, and that's 1. So to find y, 2 times 1 minus 3y sorry, hold on. Oh, sorry, x is minus 1. Minus 1, so this is minus 2 plus 2 minus 9. So y is equal to minus 9 over minus 3, and that's 3. So we are asked to evaluate y minus x square. Our y is 3. Our x is minus 1. So that's 3 plus 1 square, and that's 16. The diagonals of a rhombus. Find the length of the side. A rhombus is like a square. Okay, all the sides are the same, but the diagonals they have different diagonals. So they said diagonals are 16 and 12. So let me draw the one of course 16 will be bigger than the one of 12. So that's the one of 16. The one of 12 is like shorter. Okay, so something like this, and then I'll connect. If I connect the sides like this, so all the sides are equal. That's one property. It's like a square. All the sides are equal, but then you can see the angles they're slightly different. Now, one thing about diagonal is that you see that point where the diagonals meet, okay, is a right angle, and that point divides the diagonal into two parts. So this is the 12 centimeter diagonal. If it is divided into two parts, this will be 6 centimeter. This is the 16 centimeter diagonal. If it is divided into two parts, this is what? 8 centimeter. And of course there's a right angle, so we have a right angled triangle. This is the side here, this white spot. So S8 6. Use Pythagoras theorem. I already know that. I hope you guys know that this is a Pythagorean triple. 6 8 10 is a Pythagorean triple. So the answer is 10. You don't even need to calculate that if you already know that it is a Pythagorean triple. Okay, so that's option D. Question 49, variation M. This is a joint variation. M varies jointly as the square of n and the square root of q. So let's turn that into an equation. When you turn this proportionality sign into an equation, you have to introduce a constant. Okay, root q. What is k? M over n square root q. So we say if m is 24, n is 2, that's 2 square. Q is 4 times root 4. So k will be 24 over 4 times 2. That's 24 over 8, and that's 3. So k is 3. So it means that m is equal to 3n square root q. So say find m when n is 5. So 3 times 5 square, and q is 9. That's 3 times 25 times 3. 225. If you don't understand variations, let me know. I have a couple of notes on that for you to learn with. Final question. Oh my god, you don't know how happy I am. And I've not even done theory. I've been on this thing for like 2 hours or more. Wow. Find the mean deviation of assets of numbers. What is mean deviation? You need to know the formula of mean deviation. Okay? Mean deviation is equal to summation absolute value of x minus x bar divided by n. Now let me draw our table. Let's draw our table. So what do I need to put on my table? I need to find x and x minus x bar. That's the absolute value. You can see those two slashes. It means absolute. So it means that if you get a negative answer, don't write the negative answer, just remove the minus and write whatever is left. Okay, so what are my x? 14, 15. What is x bar? X bar is the mean. So let's calculate the mean of these numbers. 14 plus 15 divided by 6. That is 99. Sorry, that is 99 divided by 6. And that's 16.5. So now x minus x, but that is 14 minus 16.5. Okay, 15 minus 16.5. 16 minus 16.5. So normally 14 minus 16.5 should give you minus 2.5, but you write just 2.5, okay? This one should give you minus 1.5, but you write just 1.5. This one should give you minus 0.5, you write just 0. Oh, sorry, this one should give you 0.5, yeah, you write just 0.5. This one will give you 0.5. This is 1.5, and this is 2.5. So now you have to add all of these numbers together. When you add them, 2.5 plus 1.5 plus 0. That will give you 9. So the mean deviation is summation. Summation means you are adding. So that means the sum of everything is 9. So that is summation. Whatever is that, 9 divided by n is the number of numbers. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So answer is 9 divided by 6. So I'm going to treat statistics on Wednesday, and we'll look at this much better. Thank you so much for staying to the end. I really appreciate it. I'll be sending another video on the theory paper. Bye bye. Oh, by the way, let me know if you have any questions. Like, send me a DM.